Hello snowboarders of the internet, I am your host TC and this is Top 5s, the only weekly top 5 show in snowboarding that you come to see how to build a 2-board quiver. Number 5 is the Nitro Beast and the Ravine. These boards complement each other extremely well, where you have that Nitro Beast that's going to be super aggressive in the park, absolutely hammer on jumps and rails, that sort of thing. But then you got the Ravine, where this thing is just super fun and cruisy when you take it all mountain, so you don't have to be super aggressive in both aspects, especially when you just want to kind of have a day off from the park, you're sick of slamming, you're just pretty much sick of getting in the air and you just want to have a nice little fun time with the family or something. That's going to be what it's made for, really. So you have two extremes where you're just going balls to the walls and you're just kind of hanging out and relaxing. Don't let that Ravine fool you though. You could still hit side hits with it and little cliffs, that sort of thing, but it's just not super aggressive, so you can take it easy and really let those legs recover from riding that beast. Number 4 is the Nidecker Gamma and the Ride Deep Fake. So these boards are going to be pretty much the exact opposite of what number 5 was, where you have a little bit more mellow of a park board there. So if you're just getting into the park, this is a great board for you, where you can still press, pop, and butter on this thing with no problems, hit that medium jump line, just get nice and acclimated to the park. But when you're riding free ride or all mountain, you can absolutely go and rip a turn, go and just hit that deep pow, and pretty much just send everything on that more aggressive deep fake. This is for that guy or girl who really is a proficient free rider, but wants to get into the park a little bit more and just kind of expand their territory. Number 3 is the K2 Alchemist and the Jones Mind Expander. This one is definitely more of that free ride POW oriented side, but they're gonna be complete opposites, where when you're going to rip an edge and really just blow past everybody on the mountain, you're gonna be riding that Alchemist. But when you wanna go for those low angle POW days and just kind of surf and wiggle through the trees when it gets super tight and blown out, that's when you're gonna be riding that Mind Expander. The Mind Expander is nice and surfy, where you can still butter around on it and have a really good time, keep it nice and cruisy, but then you have that Alchemist for when you do need to just get after it and really just haul. Take that thing when you're racing or just really need to charge through some steep technical terrain, but then you have your Mind Expander to just have a good time. It's the best of both worlds, especially for that all mountain free rider oriented person. Make sure you like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our scheduled programming. Number 2, the Salomon Taka EP and the Bataleon Beyond Metals. These boards are probably going to have the most similar flex out of anything on this list, but that being said, they are still pretty different, where you got that Beyond Metals that's going to have a nice fluid flex from the nose to the tail, and that Salomon Taka EP is going to have a really soft nose in it and a little bit stiffer of a tail. I wouldn't say it's crazy stiff by any means, and I would recommend sizing up. Even though this board is a little bit bigger right off the bat, I would recommend going a little bit bigger just so you have that extra float. Both these boards are super awesome though. You have that Beyond Metals for pretty much everything under the sun, and then you have that Taka EP for when you need to go ride POW of any degree, whether it be those steeps or that super flat stuff where you just need a float and make it through. It's gonna do that for you. Both these boards are awesome. That Beyond Metals is going to have so much snap to it that you can just pop off of really anything you want, and it's got great edge hold. So if you still need to rip an edge on it, you can, no problems there. It is going to have 3D shaping in the nose and the tail. That doesn't affect the contact points. It is actually after that. So really, it's just there for powder. So if you get a sneaky POW day when this thing's set up, you can still ride it. Otherwise, on all those other POW days, ride that Taka EP. Honorable mentions. Remember, these are all great options for 2-board quivers. They just weren't able to crack the top 5 this year. The first honorable mention is going to be the Roam Agent and the Nitro Fin Twin. These boards complement each other extremely well, where you have that Agent to pretty much do everything under the sun, and then you got that Fin Twin to go rip POW with and go hit that super mellow stuff that nobody else can touch. You can still butter on the nose on the Fin Twin, but don't even think about it because there really is no tail on it. But that Roam Agent is going to allow you to really do anything from rip a turn to really press and butter on rails and ledges on it. and even just hitting the jump line on. It'll handle pretty much anything medium and below, and you're gonna have a great time. The second honorable mention is going to be the Rosignol Retox and the LibTech LibRig. These boards are awesome. They are gonna be on that more aggressive side, especially because they are definitely camber dominant. That Retox is gonna be full camber from contact point to contact point, so expect a lot of power and pop out of this thing, especially when you're going towards those jumps and the rails. This thing excels in the park like crazy. I absolutely love it. I own one myself. This thing hasn't changed in years and it's awesome. Now moving over to that LibRig, this board absolutely rips in free riding and all mountain, and you can even rip POW in it. Take this thing off of little side country jumps, cliffs, side hits, whatever you want, it's gonna hold up for you. It's got a nice stiff tail to it, so popping and landing isn't gonna be an issue for you, and you have a long enough nose where if you do land a little bit bolts on it, even in POW, you'll still be able to ride it out. And the final honorable mention is the Capita Aeronaut and the Jones Hovercraft 2.0. This definitely could have made the list, but this is gonna be a little bit more aggressive of a setup than most people can handle. That's why it didn't actually make the list. That hovercraft is gonna be stiff, but it holds an edge extremely well, so when you're blowing through chunder and all that chop at the end of a POW day, you're not gonna have a problem. It just wants to motor right through it. Then when you have those nice smooth groomers and the side hits are absolutely popping, that's what that Aeronaut's gonna be for. You take that thing really anywhere. I wouldn't really hit rails with it just because it's not made for that, but side hits, jumps, really any terrain, it's gonna handle it really well. Remember, these are all great options for two board quivers. They just weren't able to crack the top 5. If you're looking for a way to support us further, maybe help me get that Pick Your Line Uninc, head on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. Sure, I could explain it here, but we have a great video over there getting into it really in depth. And my number one two-board quiver for the 2025 season is the Yes Pick Your Line Uninc and the Capita Super DOA. I love both of these boards, and they're definitely both more that freestyle oriented riding, but they'll be able to take you anywhere. You got that Super DOA to just cruise park, go hit side hits, really do anything on, but then you have that Pick Your Line Uninc to really just handle that all mountain free riding really, where take that thing in fresh POW, take it off of cliffs, build a little side country booter, it'll handle it all. This board is extremely fun. They both have a good snap to them. That Super DOA is gonna have a little bit softer of a nose and tail on it, so when you need to press and butter, it'll do that for you, but it is definitely stiffer underneath your feet there, so when you load up an ollie, you have all that power in between your feet, which also helps with holding an edge. Both these boards are awesome. I absolutely love them. I wish I could own a Pick Your Line Uninc, but I'm only able to have the Super DOA at this point. But they are awesome. I would highly recommend this. If you have one, pick up the other, or vice versa, and that is pretty much all you need for a two-board quiver. As always, guys, I've been your host, TC, and this has been my top 5 two-board quiver of the 2025 season. Remember, these boards can be interchanged however you want, really, and if you need to find a pair of bindings to put on any of these boards, go check out my top 5 favorite bindings of the 2025 season.